Where are we?
You're live.
We are live. Hello, everyone. My name is April Patterson. I am the host and creator of Respectfully April. Respectfully April was created to have intimate conversations with amazing individuals in the world, entrepreneurs specifically, creating a difference and leveraging others to be their best self. So, creating environments where they create a space where individuals can thrive in the world and through education, through just connecting in the community. And today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Quintin L King. Now, that's a little tough for me to say because I don't call him Quintin, but we're gonna call him Quintin today. Um, Quintin, you see the struggle, is the senior principal at Dillard and King. And so it is a pleasure to speak with you today. I want to say thank you again for accepting the invite. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you so that you can tell the folks about your background and who you are. Who is Quintin?
Well, thank you for having me, April. This is so much fun. You got some clout because I don't usually do public anything. So
I know. Thank you very,
she
very
said,
much.
"Do it," and I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm Quentin King. I'm the senior principal of Dillard and King Limited. We characterize ourselves as a professional services firm. On staff, we have lawyers, lobbyists, consultants, risk management consultants, which is primarily what our firm does. We do crisis management, risk management, government affairs, regulatory affairs, and compliance management on behalf of
Mhm.
typically our clients are property and casualty commercial insurance companies that retain us to advise and counsel them on the nature of risks that they are endeavoring to get themselves in as a result of who they write for insurance, whether it be
Mm.
products liability, a commercial real estate uh, policy, a construction policy, or what have you. We also provide regulatory and compliance and government affairs advice to large corporations. Some of them insurance companies like the Hartford, Hanover, a few others. Some of
Mhm.
them um, trade associations in the insurance world and outside of the insurance world. We proudly represent the National Organization of Minority Architects and then a few other entities like those. Got into business decades ago. I won't say how many. Was always interested in politics, and I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania Law School and worked for a firm that did insurance related work. And one thing led to another. I ended up at a insurance trade association as a person preparing arguments on behalf of lobbyists. Eventually, that led to me actually becoming a lobbyist for the insurance industry, property and casualty insurance industry. Served as environmental counsel for a large insurance company, specialty insurance company.
Mhm.
Was the president of an organization called the National Association of Insurance Litigation Managers. Because that's what I did for the industry. I was a managed
Mhm.
multi-million dollar insurance lawsuits across the country. And then one day I said, "Hey, you know what? I think I'll free myself from the plantation and go
Oh,
use some of these lovely connections I've made over the years
right.
and make some money as an independent individual and firm." And we've had several permeations of the firm that led to what is now Dillard and King. Shout out to Jeff Dillard, my fellow senior partner, principal of the firm. So that in a
Fantastic.
nutshell. And I've done a lot of political stuff. I'm been counsel to the DNC. I've
Mm.
worked on the Obama campaign. Did some field work in my home state of Ohio on behalf of Barack and or President Obama.
Yes.
And I've known him for years. I was introduced to him by Emo Jones Sr., who was
Mm.
eventually would become the Senate president.
Mhm.
And we own the relationship based on that friendship. So
Wow. So I do not take it lightly that you are currently on my platform.
ah,
Um, just the accomplishments that you have, your journey and all of the things. And so, when the next question that I have for you is when exactly did you realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, an attorney? Do you
um,
remember when that was, and how old were you?
I was 8 years old when I determined I wanted to be a lawyer. I saw a guy in my old neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, who was probably the first person I ever saw
Mm.
in a Jaguar. And this was way back in the
Oh,
day when nobody had Jaguars.
okay.
And it was a black dude. I was like,
Okay.
and it was the coolest car me and my fellow little youngins had ever seen.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
asked him, man, what you do for a living? You a
Yeah.
football player? You play
Yeah.
basketball? He said, no, brother, I'm a lawyer. I'm just,
Okay.
he glided on off, and I'm like, well, I
In the
was like,
sunset.
that's what I'm gonna be. Whatever I can get me a
Uh,
Jaguar like that,
right.
and glide.
Uh-huh. I want the glide
I
effect.
want to be
Right.
able to glide someday. So,
Exactly.
entrepreneurism came later.
Mhm.
There's always been something in the back of my mind where I, kind of wanted to be an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur, amongst other things. Nothing will make you an entrepreneur quicker, though, than working in corporate America.
Hello.
Um,
Say it again.
and all the madness that
Whew.
you have to see as a person, whether you black, white, or red, or yellow, green, or blue, but especially when you're a black male in
Seriously.
that world, it's
Hmm.
the madness there. And I would sit in a room and in all modesty, I got a little bit of that. I would be the smartest person in the room,
Yeah.
but at the lowest end of the totem pole.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, and I, you witness stupid stuff, and
Yeah.
after a while, you say, you know what? If I could keep doing what I do, because I love what I do,
Yeah.
and eliminate the stupid part, I'd be a
That
happy
part.
person. Mondays wouldn't be so bad. And
Right.
so I said, I'm going to go for it,
Yeah.
and I did.
Very good. Very good. And so, as a black lawyer, accomplished lawyer, I'm sure the journey was tough, and I'm sure you've experienced a lot of challenging things in this space. And so, what would you say are some of the challenges that you have faced?
Well, you walk in the room as an African American person, and certain decisions, certain perceptions are made about you right from the
Mhm.
get go.
Yeah.
I've been the guy at the table at lunch with the suit on
Hmm.
and a briefcase and so forth, and people have come there and thought, oh, that white guy over there who's in jeans, a T-shirt, who I just took to lunch with me because I like the young man, was the
Hmm.
boss.
Hmm.
With and I hear that all the time. Sisters experience that. I think more so than brothers, but they definitely get that.
Yeah.
So there's perceptions that you have to deal with when you walk in the door that other folks don't have to deal with.
Hmm.
There are doors that are closed to us that we're not invited in, um, and so you have to go knock and knock again and knock a little bit harder, and
Hmm.
eventually put your foot on the door if necessary, knock it, open it,
Sacrifice an arm because I'm
and
gonna reach
because
in.
I'm coming in here, whether
I'm
you like
coming
it or
in.
not.
Yeah.
But early on, because I had great mentors, people like in my childhood, a guy like you probably heard me talk about named Maceo Mackie Sean,
Hmm.
persons like Congressman Lou Stokes, who I worked for, people like who from afar, I stalked him. Eventually,
Hmm.
had some time to talk to him, but people like Vernon Jordan,
Wow.
and others, you learn some really, really, really key
Hmm.
lessons. Ema Jones taught
Mm.
me a lot, and you learn about the concept of leverage.
Mm.
Bring something to the table that they want.
Hmm.
Um, have some exercise some power in front of them.
Mm.
Um, I swear, I wrote the 48 Laws of Power before, what's his name,
Yeah.
Green wrote it. Because you saw a lot of the stuff that in that book. That's the life that I had to live in order to get my foot in any door that I could get it into.
Yeah.
So you walk in with knowledge that you can't come in asking for stuff.
Mhm.
You got to come in delivering stuff, and then
Mhm.
after that, it becomes a different kind of challenge.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you
So
make it up that ladder. Go ahead.
yeah. So would you say that so then your approach to business and any dealings that you do is you leverage that by I guess showing anyone that you're doing business with that hey, there's equity in it for you as well. So let's leverage
Absolutely,
that. Mhm.
absolutely. I'm the guy who's going to come in with the give versus coming in with the ask.
Got it. Okay.
I'm going to
Okay.
do my darndest to do that. I mean, you
Y'all
can't do it
hear that,
every
folks?
time.
Come in with what you gonna give versus
Yep.
what you gonna ask for.
What you ask for.
What
A
you're
lot of people
asking
think
for.
networking is about going somewhere, handing out business cards, and asking for things. You know,
Mhm.
the hookup, the recommendation, the job. But for me, networking is about walking in the door and figuring out, who the 10 most powerful people in that room are, who the 10 people in that room who can do the most for me and my business, and what it
Mhm.
is that they need or want. And
Wow.
you get that by asking questions, by sitting so quietly by with the drink in your hand, listening to people talk, listening to someone say X, Y, and Z, and
Mhm.
then you know,
Mhm.
okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to approach this person with this. I got tickets to that.
Yeah.
I've got access to this guy. Hey, did I hear you needed a developer on this project that you're starting
Right,
into
right,
because you
right,
couldn't
right.
find? Hey, I got a guy. I know a guy
Connection. Mhm. Mhm.
who does this and did it for the city and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Even if the two of them don't get together, that person who I said that to is going to look at me different from if I was there. Like, can you give me a contract to work on this job?
Right.
So I go. I'm about inclusion everywhere I
Mhm.
go. I try to
Mhm.
make new friends and find people who I can be part of their network and grow my own network. So.
Yeah, that is super cool. And I will say, when I first met you at Ja Grill, shout out to Ja.
Yeah.
It was I was instantly intrigued by you. I was interestingly instantly drawn to you because you are when you say observe, like you're a man of few words, a man of few words. Um, you only speak when you have something to say, and so I admire that about you. I think that it does speak it says a lot in terms of like your networking, your ability to network and how well you do that. And so networking is definitely I am a big proponent of that. When you enter into a room, figure out who the key players are and connect with them. You
Yep.
know, and I like that. I'm going to try that. I'm going to take that tip. You know,
Yeah.
present what you can do for them.
Yep. The other
Present.
side of that coin is kind of cold, and this is where, especially Black folks, we are the nicest people on the planet. We
Yeah.
really are,
Yeah.
because I think the history of wrongdoing to us is long and hard, and so
Yeah.
we try not to crush people
Yeah.
and push people off because that's just how we are.
Yeah.
And sometimes, guess what? You gotta push people off because
Yeah.
people will waste your damn time. Sorry, I
It
don't know if I can
will.
say that.
It's true. You gonna say it? It's fine. People, honey,
People,
they say a whole lot on YouTube. So
there you go. That's right. Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, good,
this is
good.
being this
Yeah,
is
I'm not
on
on.
this lives on Facebook
I'm not
and
on
YouTube.
VON this week.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah, it's all good.
So yeah, people
Yeah.
will waste your time if you let them, and
Yeah.
their motives may not necessarily be negative or benign, or malignant rather.
Yeah.
Their motives may just be I've got this dream and I want you to help me make it. Because one of the things I think Black folks do more so than anybody else is when we go into business,
Mhm.
the first thing we try to do quite often is create a committee
Mm.
around whatever it is that we're doing.
Mhm.
And 99% of the businesses in this world, now I'm not saying you don't need other people, but you to start a business, you need to start a business, and it doesn't have to be a committee involved in that process. But we tend to have this what I call a civil rights approach to business at
Yeah.
times, where
Wow.
we create a committee. We got to have a committee, or you got to have six people helping us do X, Y, and Z, and da 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 da, and
Yeah.
bada bing, bada bang. Nah, you just do it yourself. But
Yeah.
there are folks who will come to you and take up a lot of your time and energy, and breathe up in a lot of your oxygen from you with
Hmm.
their dreams, when their dreams are not your dreams.
No.
You got to go ahead and
Got my own vision.
take your own piece out of there. So
Absolutely. And that's so true. Um, I know, and I'm seeing that in this new space of being an entrepreneur, crossing over from the corporate world into the entrepreneurship. And so, which the other thing that I notice is because as an entrepreneur, you end up connecting with nonprofit individuals, like
mhm.
nonprofit organizations. And so that space in itself, look,
It's
we're
a
gonna shift.
space.
Is that what we're gonna do? We're just gonna shift.
Yeah, it's a space. I mean,
It's a space.
somebody's got to do it, but everybody don't have to do
Somebody's got to do it, but everybody doesn't have to do
it.
it. And I think that, but for me, it's interesting because, you know, when I enter into here that I'm entering into that, or not working with nonprofits,
Hmm.
I only know one way to do something, and that's corporate.
Hmm.
So for you, Um, do you dibble and dabble in the nonprofit? And if so, like how
Only if there's profit in it.
only well, I mean, is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
like
I do my personal things where I give money
okay,
and volunteer time and energy to
okay,
various not-for-profit entities.
okay.
That's thing one. Thing two,
That's
though,
okay.
is, do I have not-for-profit clients? Yeah, if they can pay me,
If they can
and
pay
that's
you.
I'm
I
all about getting
understand all
paid.
about that money, honey.
I
I
got
get it.
payroll.
Time is
Um,
money, honey. That's my little
it is.
that's my
It is.
and
And
yeah.
I don't feel any kind of way, because I do in my personal life help not for profits, and someone called me recently from a not for profit who needed to touch someone in City Hall, that who I didn't know, but I knew someone who knew that person,
Mhm.
which is one of the things you probably know. I do. I know
Right.
everybody.
You
I'm
everybody.
six degrees from just about anybody, and
Seriously.
I've connected them. Now, is that a billable event? It could be. If you were Exxon saying, "Hey, Quentin, we need to have a conversation with Joe Schmo at City
No
Hall,"
problem. I'll
that,
send you that
that's
invoice.
lifting chain, right? And they know that, and
Yeah.
businesses like that know that. But not for profit, this is a small not for profit. I made a phone call
Yeah.
and happened. So that's I'll do that, but you can't live your life as a just because you got nonprofits coming to you for help. You can't just do that and then starve to death. And
Yeah.
there's so many black businesses I've seen do that. The other
Yeah.
thing I see with a lot of black businesses is that they confuse being a business themselves, a for-profit entity, with being a not-for-profit entity. They confuse social enterprise with,
Mm,
we don't have to make any money, but or we can live down the road for the money we need to make, or we're going to be this entity that is applying for grants and loans and what have you,
mhm.
as a social enterprise, but we don't have any way to facilitate our own profit without the government or a foundation giving it to us.
Right.
And for me, that doesn't work. I mean,
Doesn't
it
work
may
at
work
all.
for other people, but it just doesn't work for me as a for-profit entity. I need to walk to Joe Schmo and say, "Hey, Joe, you paying me this week?" And Joe says, "Yes." And I say, "Where my money?"
Right. And that's exactly right. And so I'm so glad you touched on that. I think we could probably host a whole segment
Yeah.
about that. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
it's just interesting being in that space, in the entrepreneur space, and the corporate space, and bringing that corporate over. And it's a whole thing. So, like I said, we'll
Well,
table that.
some of the best not-for-profits I know are actually run like corporations. Period.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Period. Not for profit don't mean they don't make money. It just means that hell, they ain't paying taxes, and there's no excess that gets taxed.
Right,
But
exactly.
you make
Hmm.
money as a not for profit.
Yeah, you
Period.
can if you do it correctly.
Hmm.
100%.
You
100%.
better do it correctly.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yep.
that's the demise of the organization.
Go
And
tell
so,
that. Go tell that to the United Way.
mhm,
They make millions of dollars.
yeah, yeah, they do. A beast, a
Yeah,
beast
they are
in that
indeed.
space.
And there are a few others out here who are similar, and even some
Hmm.
smaller ones you've never heard of. But when you look at
Hmm.
their books, it's like
Whoa,
20
y'all,
million dollars
y'all doing okay?
in a quarter.
Wait a minute. Right, right.
And it seems to be the
So,
model too for some of them. But go ahead.
yes, exactly. No, seriously. Okay, so besides the fame, the accolades, the
I,
money, I know. Listen, this is an exclusive. Okay.
come on, not me. I'm a
This
regular
is an
guy.
exclusive.
I'm a regular
So
guy.
besides all of that,
I'm
like
from Cleveland. What?
look, Cleveland, what do you do in Cleveland? Like in LA, we do whoop whoop. Like that's our little
We just scared of people in Cleveland. That's it.
um
You ain't gotta say nothing from down the way. You scared you. You know.
oh my gosh, that is hilarious. So, but besides all of the amazing accolades and things and notoriety, um, what is the why behind your hustle? Like, what motivates you to keep going?
Freedom. One
Mm,
word. Freedom.
yeah.
That's it. That I
Hmm.
mean, waking up and on the one hand, entrepreneurism isn't about uh, totally being free from everything. I mean, you have a boss.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, if you have clients, you have a bunch of bosses, and
Absolutely.
each of them have put their foot in your behind as necessary or do what they do. Blah blah blah. But by and large, you have the level of and kind of freedom that you don't have in corporate America. And
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
never just motivated by money. I understand money is the toll that gets me across the bridge where I don't have to deal with idiot managers and supervisors and rules that make no sense to me and
Hmm.
time and hours that don't make
Yeah.
sense to me. I'm motivated by freedom and to get things done when I want to get them done, how I want to get them done, and the freedom to make decisions and pull triggers the way I want to. I'm also
Wow.
motivated by helping other young, and not that I'm young, but entrepreneurs, guys and women who are up and coming, who need a door opened, who need some advice. I was blessed to have mentors. You
Hmm.
hear a lot of young people in particular say, I can't find a mentor." And after I vet them about what exactly they think a mentor does,
Hmm.
then I will be their mentor. Um, and I can offer them advice, or I will show them someone who can. But the part
Hmm.
of part of my motivation is just to help other people
That's great.
move in the right direction. So
That's really cool. So you have a heart to serve others, which to me that should be really the core of number one who we should be as human
mhm,
beings, number one.
yeah,
But I mean, as an entrepreneur, like you really have to, in order to be successful, because let's face it, a lot of prospecting, a lot of the things, I think it does come with you wanting to have a heart to serve, because you have to put yourself out there to say, hey, this is why you need me, let me help you, you
yeah,
need me. I literally, like that's
yeah.
my whole thing, and I'm here to serve you, right? So that to me is really that's really a good place to be in, to understand giving back is important. And I know, so I know that you do that. DePaul alumni, you are
Mhm,
love, shout
mhm.
out Blue Demons.
Everybody,
And so which my daughter Shanika graduated from there, so you two
hey,
have that in common, which
all
is why
right,
I absolutely love that.
we
It
are.
definitely put her on her path of building a great career for herself. So let's talk about what's next for Q.
Okay. As you know, we just or we will be opening a London office in 2023 in
And the
May.
crowd goes wild.
And it's something we've been looking at and thinking about for years because of the insurance ties. We do work
Yes.
for Lloyd's in the United States, risk management work, and
Yes.
we have a good, really nice connections
Yeah.
in London.
Wow.
One of the reasons I want to do work in London is it puts me one step closer to Ghana, and there's a nice size Ghanaian population there, and we have a great relationship with folks in
Wow.
Ghana. We do business with several folks out in the Ghanaian government. Um,
Right. Wow.
so that's part of it, and then of course there's the Jamaican ties, which is part of me,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
just and to be international, it's critical. And there's a lot of good, interesting insurance stuff, which is my ballet way. That
Right.
from it's totally different system from the United States. The legal system over there is just totally different, but it's still you still have risks that need to be managed, and there's
Mhm.
still a lot of work being done there that's admiralty related.
Mhm.
And, we
Mhm.
have some people who are helpful with that and who are helpful with European conflict zones and is it safe to do business in this part of Eastern Europe given what's going on in the Ukraine?
Yeah.
Is this how's the banking system in this place or that place? Well, if I enter into a contract with someone in Uzbekistan, does that have any power? Will they deal with me
Yeah.
fairly? Can I trust the court systems there? Yada yada yada. And we got more and more of our clients. We've always had a few international clients. We represent QBE Insurance, which is an Australian insurance company. For
Mhm.
years, we represented this company called Princeton Commercial Holding, which is actually out of Cyprus.
Wow.
So, for years we had a international,
Mhm.
um,
Ties.
yeah, and
Mhm.
done some stuff for a Chinese manufacturer of motorbikes.
Mm.
Been a regular client for
Wow.
decades with our
Wow.
firm that ship them both to Europe and to the United States. We make sure they get through um, commerce related issues
Okay.
more easily than not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's from a
That is
business.
just, I mean, you're just doing a little something like, nothing big. Just
We're trying.
opening up
Yeah,
another firm in London,
it's got to be done. Somebody's got to do it.
somebody's
Somebody's
got to
got to
do
make
it.
those pounds, or since they're not on the euro anymore, give it to me.
Give it to me.
I'll
Exactly.
take it.
Taking it all. Taking it all. That's so cool. Congrats
Well, thank
on
you.
that. I'm super, super, super happy for
And
you.
I'm
And
going to announce something that you will be the first to know about, and I'm announcing it on your show. We are also doing a rebranding where we will stress more of our risk management and um, focus more in on um, and more of our advisory work than we have in the past. We may even go to a fancy schmancy name like Dillard. Right now we're Dillard and King Limited. We may go to like something like Dillard and King Professional Services, DKPS Limited, and we're looking for additional expansion places wherever it makes sense to have an office. In the next 5 years, we're going to have one. Thank you, thank you.
so excited. So excited for you.
I
And
am
thank
too.
you for, and look, thank you for giving me the exclusive.
There
Like,
you go. You got
I'm
it.
telling you, that is so, so cool. So, so cool. Thank you so much.
You got it.
I appreciate that. So, we're gonna wrap it up. I know you are busy, you have a tight schedule, and so do I. But I want to say thank you so much
Oh, you're welcome.
for
It's
your
been fun.
time, for all of the knowledge, for being available, for being humble, for setting an
From Cleveland.
example.
What you
Like
expect?
all of the things. Like I just love your energy. You're just
You got the
super,
Browns.
super down to earth. Got the Browns.
How can I help but be humble?
I was
Come
gonna
on.
say, I was not gonna say.
No, I'm saying it. Shoot.
That is hilarious. I'm sorry. I laughed too
Truth.
hard. Too hard.
Truth. Truth
Um,
hurts.
so here's you can do two if you want, because I know you have a lot of mic
Mhm.
drop advice. But let's see, what's your drop the mic
Drop the
advice
mic.
to those that may be listening to you today? So
Mhm.
you can give me two.
Okay. Having a niche market. Mine, ours is broadly it's the insurance industry, but when we get a little more focused, it's risk and crisis management. Um, there are people out here who are, especially if you're in the professional services world, have a niche that's different and interesting that you become an expert and that nobody can tell you you are not an expert at this or you're not good at this.
Right.
And instead of being a generalist,
Hmm.
um, you know, and sell, have something that you can sell that people actually want, and that is a niche.
Number
The other
two.
thing is, don't be afraid this is one of the reasons I said what I said it before we started. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to ask white people for their money.
That's right. Let them know.
A lot of folks are afraid to go to, and I say white folks, I'm talking about corporate America,
Right.
or just some random white person that we met. But don't be afraid to,
Yeah.
don't go in the door thinking, oh man, they will never do business with me. You
Hmm.
will be surprised. Again, it goes back to what we talked about leveraging. If you come in there with something that they need and want, and frankly, I get a lot of pushback from this from people, and that need or want can't just be, oh, we need to be woke this year, and so we're gonna hire some black contractors, sort of, kind of. It's
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm an expert on the tax code.
Right.
Nah, I'm an expert on this regulatory scheme. No, I'm an expert, and you gonna know it. And I'm an
Yeah.
expert on this, that, and the other thing. You gonna know it, and you gonna need me. I'm gonna make you addicted to me, like I was giving you crack cocaine. Um, you got to be.
Let them
Don't
know,
be
Q. Let
afraid.
them know.
Oh my God. But don't be afraid to scale up and go in the doors of businesses that you think that you can't get business from. You ain't. It's not gonna happen overnight. I'm gonna tell
Nope.
you now. Our big, we have some really large clients. I got one client. I joke about this all the time. That it took me 10 years, 10 years to land. And I've gone through a series of managers and people, and they finally say, "Hey, let's give you some business." I'm like, well, damn,
Huh.
it's about time.
Been
But
waiting on you.
it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I finally hypnotized you, and you going, So don't be afraid to do that. Figure out what they need, what they want, and give it to them. And just because you run into racism and you run
Hmm.
into sexism and you run into people saying no to you, that shouldn't tell me the damn thing.
Not
Yeah.
nothing. Exactly.
So
Exactly. Wow, that's some good stuff. I love it. And you passionate about the
I
mic
am.
drop. That
I
was
am.
some passion behind it.
Ain't
Well,
no
I'm
joke.
gonna. That was awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. You stay put. I'm gonna say my spiel. I'm gonna say thank you. So I'm gonna Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, April Patterson of Respectfully April, with my guest today, Quintin L King. And we just want to say thanks for listening. Tune in. I think I've put across the bottom here where you can reach me on IG at Respectfully April Podcast. Be sure to head over there and follow me. And thank you for listening.